Mr. Roberts, can you go into Jim Crow and what are some ways systematic racism is embedded into our Constitution and laws?
Yeah. So this is interesting because I just had my students to do research on throughout Black history. They have had to do research on Black people, Black colleges and universities and things like that every single day. Here in school, they have to do it. And I actually like keep it up throughout Black history because we need to know about ourselves and what benefited us during those times. So I haven't done much research on South Carolina State University. However, um, my students were required to do the research on South Carolina State University. And as they were doing their research, they came across something on their website, if I'm not mistaken, that South Carolina State University, of course, we know is a HBCU. I did know that. And that it was a school built for Black people. And during the Jim Crow times, which is separate but equal, um, they had a hard time, of course. But there was something interesting that happened with South Carolina State University. So before we got deep into that, I asked my students, I said, okay, we know Jim Crow is separate but equal. What does that sound like? What is separate but equal? How can you be separate but you're equal? That doesn't seem like it makes sense. It seems like it contradicts each other. How can you be separate but equal? My student says it seems like you are apart, but maybe you have the same rights. I said that's exactly what it is. Um, and I gave them an example. I said uh, blacks back in that time had been segregated from the white people. We had our schools. We were able to go to school. However, and we were able to get an education. However, we weren't able to do that with white people. We had to do it on our own. We had to have Black teachers. We had to have um, torn up books. We didn't get the best quality education, but we were equal because we received education. So the interesting part about South Carolina State University is that the government, the state legislatures of South Carolina at the time, during the Jim Crow times, had funded South Carolina State, which is very interesting because you have white legislators funding a Black school. They funded the Black school so that the Blacks didn't have to go to University of South Carolina, which was a white school, for law school. So they funded them so that the Blacks could stay at South Carolina State University and get their law degree at a Black school, and they didn't have to go to the white schools. And my students said, well, that's interesting. It sounded like they were doing something good because they were investing into Black people. But the whole purpose was to make sure that Blacks stay away from whites. So we'll do everything in our power to make sure you stay away from us. That is systematic racism. You won't get education from us, but you could get the whatever education you need at your Black school. And that was very interesting to the students that state legislators would do such a thing. So separate but equal, it was a thing, but it wasn't a good thing to help America as a whole to be the America that it should be.
Gotcha. Thank you for breaking it down. I learned something new. And I was at Claflin for 4 years, and I'm just now learning about that. So appreciate it.